Hello, in this video we'll see how to build a Shopify function for product discounts. This type of function, as the name implies, lets you create discounts that will be applied to individual products in the customer's cart. But first, let's understand why we'll want to use this. So if we go to the admin page of our store and then go to the discount tabs, as here, and try to create a discount, we'll see that we already have a product discount option. And if we click on this, we have plenty of options here already. So why would we want to use a Shopify function for this instead of just filling out this form and creating a product discount from here? Well, even though there are a large number of options here to customize our discount, it doesn't cover every single use case. So for example, let's say that we wanted to create a discount code that will apply a 10% discount for every single product in our store, except for products with the limited edition tag. So if we try to do this from here, we could maybe think that by selecting the specific products that don't contain that tag will be enough. And if your store doesn't have a large number of products, that'd be fine. But assuming your store has hundreds of products, which is a very real use case, then that will be unfeasible. So what about creating a collection, an automated collection that will add every single product that doesn't contain that tag, and then selecting the collection from within here? Well, let's try that. So if we go to products and then to collections, and we try to create a collection, an automated collection by product tag, we only have the option of when a product tag is equal to something, but we cannot add products automatically here based on whether they don't contain a tag. So that is also discarded. And in a case like this is when you will go to a Shopify function and create that logic yourself, because the native tools that Shopify provides do not let you do that out of the box. So let's see how we create a function to solve for this. Okay, so from VS Code, now let's run npm init Shopify app latest. This will create an app, which is where we will create our function. So let's say that this is a product discount app. Let's start by adding your first extension, and this will install all the dependencies and create the folder structure that we need to work on our function. So I'll be back in a moment once this finishes installing. Okay, we finished installing, and now let's take all of this, let's move it out, let's edit this folder, and now let's run npm run Shopify app generate extension. This is where we will create our extension itself. So let's create this as a new app, product discount app. And now let's select here under discount and checkout, discount products function. And let's name this product discount demo. Let's select with TypeScript, although feel free to select whichever option of those you are more comfortable with. Okay, so now that we have finished installing, let's explore what we have. So inside the extensions folder, we have our function inside this folder, and then here we have the different files that were created. An important one is schema.graphql, which will define everything that our function can receive. We'll see more of this in a moment. Then over here in index.ts, we see that we are calling just this round.ts, and this is the body of our function. This over here is what is executed to figure out what discount to apply based on the user's cart. And over here in run.graphql, this is where this schema.graphql will start making sense. So from here we can get different data from the user's cart or from the customer itself based on these properties that we have here. If we want to see them in more detail, we can go to the documentation here, where we can explore every single one of these objects. For example, the cart, it has all of these properties. If we wanted to see the buyer identity one, we can get deep into each one of the fields here and have a brief description of each. But also in schema.graphql, we do have a small description of each above each one of these names, just that it is a bit harder to navigate compared to this. Anyways, let's start building the query that we will need to get the data for our extension. Okay, so let's build our query. So I will delete all of this because I don't need those properties. And then I'll look for type input. And here I'll look for cart. All of these properties are the ones that I can query at the topmost level of this query. And now from the cart, I want to get the lines property, this one. So in the query that will look like this. From lines, type cart line. I want to get, let's see, I want to get the merchandise. This is where the product is. And now let's see what property I want to get from the merchandise. Well, type merchandise doesn't exist. And the reason for that is that merchandise is a union, this one, because it can either be a custom product or a product variant. I want to get a product variant, so in the query I'll say that on product variant. And before continuing, I have to also query the type name. The reason for that is because I'll use this property in the code to tell it whether this is a custom product or a product variant. That way it doesn't error out when I try to access one of the properties of a product variant. You'll see how that looks like in a moment. Anyways, continuing here, let's go to type product variant. And here I want to get the ID. And I also want to get the product, the parent product of this variant. And lastly, from product, I want to query this has any tag. This will return a boolean telling me whether this product has any of the tags that I'll pass in this tags array. In this case, I'll just pass a single tag, the limited edition tag. So has any tag. Limited edition. And this is how our query looks like. Now, if I go to run.ts and put this here, I can say input dot, and it's this discount code. This is the previous query that I had here. And how do I update this? Well, I have to go into extensions, product discount demo, and here I'll run npm run typegen. This will take this query and generate the necessary TypeScript types. It says that we have an error here. Right, I had a typo, has any tag. And now when I run npm typegen, it failed again. Cannot query field line on type card. Was it lines? And we generated the types successfully. So now you can see here that I have the typings for all of this. So now let's build the body of this function. Okay, so let's delete this configuration and type configuration, as we won't be using any of this. And let's create a constant discounted items. This will be of type function run result. This is what we will be returning in a moment. And now discount application strategy. This property tells Shopify which discount to apply. You'll see what I mean by this in a moment. Let's just put it as first. And now discounts, this is an array. So this is what this property is useful for. It tells Shopify which of the items in this discounts array to pick. So we can either select first, which will select the first discount that applies, because we can here add conditions to say this discount, even though it is the first item in the array, it doesn't apply to this cart, so ignore it. But we can also put this at maximum, which will select the discount that offers the largest price reduction. In this case, let's just pick first, because we will anyways just have a single item in this discounts array. So targets, let's put this as an empty array for the moment. And value, this is where we tell Shopify how much to reduce the price for. This would be a percentage, and it will be a 10. Now, There are a few other optional properties here, such as message. We could say 5%, 10% off or something like that. And now let's take care here of targets. So let's create a targets property, a targets constant, and let's see the type of this is target array. So let's make that. And now input.card.lines. Let's filter them. Let's get each line, and if line.merchandise.type name, this is where type name comes in handy here, is equal to product variant, then we say has limited edition tag will be equal to line.merchandise.product.has any tag, and we return this. Has limited edition tag is equal to false. Basically, if it doesn't have this tag, then we want to add this item. Otherwise, we are filtering it out. Now, we have to map this. So let's get the line, and here let's return product variant ID, and this will be line.merchandise as product variant. We know this is a product variant already because here it wouldn't have passed this filter otherwise, and we get the ID. And here we pass these targets here, and now let's return discounted items. Now let's push this to Shopify and let's see how this looks like. Okay, so in this console I'm in the topmost level, basically at the level of this package.json, and here I will run npm run dev. This will open a development server with my extension being run in dev. As this is the first time that I'm running this command, it will do a bit of setup. So now let's press P, and this will ask me to install this app, which contains the extension we are creating. The app has been installed, and now let's go to product discounts, and we don't have our discount here. So how can we enable this? Well, we'll have to run a GraphQL query to enable that, so let's see how to do that. We have to go to this URL over here, which I'll leave in the video description, and here we will paste the URL for our store. So everything here from admin to the name of our store. I'll copy this, I'll paste it here, and now we have to select the scopes that we want the GraphQL editor to be able to access. For simplicity, I'll just select them all, but you can, of course, here pick and choose the ones that you need. I'll just click on install here now, and let's install the app. Right, so if you were also getting that error, you'll have to exit that page, and then here look for GraphQL again, and you'll be able to load the editor as normal. So here, if I run this, I get the name of my shop, so this is working fine. Now let's create a query to get the ID for our function, because we'll need that in a moment. So Shopify functions, let's get the first 25, let's get nodes, and here ID. It will also be useful to get the app title, so we know that this ID corresponds to a function in our app. Let's get the API type too. Let's get the title. If I run this, let's run it again. Okay, so product discount app is the app that we created. So let's grab this ID over here. Let's comment this. Let's paste this ID here. And now let's write a mutation that will create the discount code using our functions logic. So discount code app create code app discount, and here the code, let's say that this will be my function. The title will be tag excluded discount. The function ID, this is where we will paste this thing from here. The start set, say 2023 10/01. And now let's get code app discount. Let's get the discount ID and user errors in case there was any. Let's get the field and the message. Let's run this, and we see function not found. And the reason for that is because we haven't given our app permission to create discount codes. This is important because if we don't, then we'll get this error. Now, how do we fix this? Let's go to the code and see what we can do. Now, from within our code base in shopify.app.toml, here in scopes, we'll add write discounts and read products. Now, where do you get these values? Why did I add these values this way? Well, here in this documentation page, you can see all the possible scopes that you can add there, and you will add the ones that you are using. In this case, I'm trying to create a discount code, so I need to add write discounts, and I'm also reading product data, so I need to also add read products. But you will change these values depending on what you are doing in your function. Now, let's run npm run Shopify app config push to tell Shopify that these values have been updated. It will over here tell us what just got updated. We can confirm that those were the changes we made, and now those will be pushed to Shopify. And if I run now npm run dev, I will be prompted to update the app with the new permissions that I just added. So let's hit P here, and in update the app now, our app has the new permissions. So now let's go to the GraphiQL editor here. Let's try to run this now. And we can see that the response is different now. We had an ID here, which means that this was successful. Let's go to the discount here, and we can see tag excluded discount appears now. So this seems to be working. Now, if I click on this, you'll see that it moves me to the product discount app page in the settings, because this app doesn't have a front end. So keep that in mind. By creating a function, you are creating the discount, but the values are just hard-coded. If you want to let the user interact with this, so for example, be able to change this 10% to something different, you will have to build a front end for this function, which I won't be covering in this video, although Shopify has a guide on how to do this that I'll leave in the video description in case you want to dive deeper into it. So anyways, something we can also change here is this T name that appears over here. We can give this discount a more significant name, like tag excluded discount. I just gave it the exact same name that I used here, but you can be more creative or descriptive if you want to. By the way, you can, even though we don't have a front end for this, the user can still enable or disable this discount by selecting it over here and deactivating it, and then activating it when they want to use it again, or just delete it altogether here by clicking on delete discounts. Now let's go to our store and let's try to apply the discount to see what happens. Alright, so in the store now, let me add this item to the cart. Let me add this other item to the cart. And let's go to checkout. Here, if I try to apply my function, which is the discount code I just created, that calls our function, we get the 10% discount for both of these items. This is working fine. Now let's add the limited edition tag to one of these products and see if the discount is not applied to it as we intended. So limited edition, here, let's click on save. And over here, let's add this item to the cart. Let's go to checkout. And here we can see that it is applied to these two, but not to the hydrogen one, which is the one that just got the limited edition tag. Now in the Shopify partners dashboard, we can see how this looks like. If we go to apps, we click in our app here, and in extensions over here, we select our function, and this last run over here, see details, we can see the input that it got, which were the products we had in the cart, and this is the output it got. If there were any errors, you will see those here. And now, if you remember from earlier in the video, I told you that we still needed to use this empty discount for something. And let me show you why we would want to use that. So if I remove these two items, we're here, and go to checkout, and try to apply my function, I get an error. My function isn't working right now. Contact us for more help, which doesn't tell us really that much. But if we check in the dashboard over here, we can see we've been getting errors for a while. The reason for those many errors is because the function is also run before we get to checkout. Anyways, here we can see the error that targets can be blank. So in the code, as we see here, we are filtering this array based on this has any tag property. Has any tag is true, and if it is true, then it will not pass this filter because we are checking here for it to be false. Therefore, this targets array ends up in blank, ends up empty, and the error here says that it cannot be blank. So for those cases where targets.length is 0, we will return empty discount, otherwise discounted items. We save this, and now if we refresh here in checkout, let me close that message, and if I apply my function, I just don't get anything because this item has the limited edition tag, and that's fine. That's what I wanted. I just didn't want to see that error message here because that may confuse the user. And we can see here that we just got a successful run. So that's about it. As a last step, let's deploy this function to show you how that will be done. So over here, let's stop the development server and run npm run deploy. This will use a simplified deploy. We will release this as a new version. And that's it. That's how you deploy this app. So I hope you found this video useful. Remember to like the video in that case, and subscribe for more Shopify related content. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.